The beginning of the disaster. Should have been episode 1's title. Did you fall asleep during episode 27? Here's a recap. They are really rushing this, aren't they? Whoa, this really needs more episodes. Wait, how does Zeta get here? Babu. That was it? That was so lame. Holy heavenly cabbage, this arc was boring. Alright, let's get the two things I liked out of the way, I guess. Firstly, I loved how well animated Chaos was. He really was where most of the budget went for this arc. The water effects are done very well, his movements did great at showing the very alien nature of him, and the animation on Perfect Chaos, from the movements to the expressions, were superb. And two, this arc helped solidify my liking towards Mr. Stewart. He has really nice development in this arc. But aside from those two things, everything else took a massive hit in quality. I think the reason this arc is so bad is just because of the amount of episodes that was given to this story. This arc was given 6 episodes. Just barely over 2 hours to tell the whole story from Adventure 1. And in doing this, it resulted in this story having to rush everything in this saga, which completely killed any stakes or emotion this story used to have in the original game. Characters have absolutely no time to properly develop, which leads to them being cardboard cutouts that just help the story go forward, as opposed to feeling like these characters are getting involved properly in the story. This lack of character development results in character arcs either being way too quick, coming out of nowhere, or just never resolved. Gamma went from being an interesting character that you naturally grew to like thanks to his development in the game, to a character that forcefully resolves his entire character's story in just 1 episode. He gains his sentience, leaves Eggman, kills Delta and Epsilon, with Epsilon being nearly completely off screen, and kills Beta in a fight that barely lasts a minute, leading to me feeling absolutely nothing when he poofs out of existence. His once great and endearing character story was ruined. Tails' development into a much braver character made sense in the game, but here, him suddenly feeling like he can't do anything without Sonic doesn't make any sense, because in the last 2 arcs, he showed plenty of bravery and showed he was quite capable of taking care of himself. So not only was this plot point way too rushed, it was also completely pointless. The shortness of the runtime also calls for plot convenience to be kicked into overdrive, with the Master Emerald and Chaos Emerald hunts being way too fast, Tikal's story hitting none of their marks, characters just randomly finding Chaos Emeralds, be it off-screen or on, and the cast acting exceptionally stupid in order to have Chaos get all the emeralds to turn into One-Headed King Ghidorah. Because of Chris and the new characters, the studio had to change parts of the plot in order to fit them in, and in doing so, certain parts of the adventure story are either just completely skimmed over, like Zero, who has one thing to the story and is never an issue again, Zeta not even being mentioned until Gamma was going on a sibling massacre. Why does deleting Eggman's master memory shit cause them to die but Gamma's fine? And the Egg Viper appearing for not even a minute-long fight scene, or changed for something else in order to make the story still hit their marks while trying to add the new characters in naturally, but fails miserably. Take the lead up to the climax, for example. In the game, Knuckles brought the 6 Chaos Emeralds he got from Chaos 6 back to Angel Island along with the Master Emerald. Chaos and Eggman head to the island, to which Chaos betrays Eggman, steals the Chaos Emerald, and makes a run for the last one. After one final flashback telling the audience what happened to the Echidnas, Sonic and Tails make their way to the location of the last emerald, but they got there too late, causing Chaos to naturally steal the last emerald and obtain his kaiju form. In the anime, Knuckles isn't even on Angel Island, but is instead with Sonic, Tails, and Eggman in Mystic Ruins. Chaos betrayed Eggman too quickly, with the 6 Chaos Emeralds held in a sack. Chris then proceeds to shout for Knuckles while holding out the last emerald for all the world to see, shockingly gets caught, causing Sonic and the gang to rescue him, leading to Knuckles dropping the sack, which falls down a crack, and Chaos' transformation begins right on track. One story hit its climax pretty damn well, the other hit its climax because of brain-dead incompetence. Which one has the most weight here? Say what you want about Sonic Adventure's storytelling and its flaws, but at least the game mostly managed to competently tell its story, and the characters fucked up due to just really bad circumstances. Adventure told its story in a way that made the narrative hit all of its marks without the atrocious amount of plot convenience that the anime used because of the garbage runtime. And because of this recipe of stupid character moments and rushed story all being condensed into a 6-episode arc, Sonic X lost a lot of what made Sonic Adventure adventure so memorable in the first place. I am glad that the show actually went out of its way to show the aftermath of all the destruction rather than just skipping it at the start of the next arc, but overall, I found the Chaos Saga to just be way too cluttered, way too rushed, and above all, way too boring. But what about the next arc? Well, after the boring cluster onion that was the Chaos Saga, it's now time to review the arc that covered the adventures of Sonic Adventure 2, the Shadow Saga, which contain episodes 33 to 38. The humans turned on Sonic way too quickly.
You guys are the absolute worst. Chris runs right into trouble again.
Yeah, they fixed one plot hole, so that was nice.
4 kids ruined this soldier's moment.
Woohoo! Live and learn, baby! Woohoo! If the last arc's biggest problem was that it was way too rushed and boring, this arc's biggest problem is that it is too frustratingly stupid. Alright, look, I'm not gonna play dumb with you. We all know of the most infamous plot points of Adventure 2 by now. Prison Island keeping Shadow in cryogenic storage even though they know how dangerous he is begging for disaster. Giving the mad scientist a computer while he was in prison after killing his daughter and destroying his plans on the Ark was a smooth brain moment. Sonic having the sudden ability to do chaos control, and on top of that with a fake emerald shouldn't be possible and makes no sense. And the fact that no one thought to check the Ark after Gerald said his very detailed plans to a camera seconds before his live leak style execution, and just leaving it there and not moving it somewhere far into space is mind-numbingly dumb. So the anime tries to fix some of the holes in the story while trying to add the new characters in. But by trying to fix some plot holes from the original game, Sonic X ended up creating 2 to 3 more due to the fact that A, Sonic and the gang come from a different world this time, and B, Sonic X still contains nearly all the same plot holes from the original game in addition to more. Many examples include Eggman finding out he was born in the human world. This raises way too many questions as to how he even got to Mobius in the first place. This twist just kinda pops out of nowhere, and what's even worse is that it's never expanded upon. The anime decides to just, drop this complete bombshell onto the audience and just moves on like it was nothing. If you are not going to expand on this very crucial detail of Eggman's character, then what was even the point? Sonic cannot steal a Chaos Emerald from the humans in this adaptation because the emeralds don't belong to the humans in the first place. So the humans suddenly taking full ownership and arresting Sonic for allegedly taking something that is already his, in addition to knowing that the Chaos Emeralds are the one thing that Sonic and the gang need to get back home, is the biggest amount of mental gymnastics I've ever seen. Also, Chaos Emeralds range from being guarded in a high security base to being placed in an art museum. I'm sorry. What? What's even better is that this arc introduces the beginning of the humans instantly starting to distrust Sonic, despite there being absolutely no valid reasons to start now. Why would they think that Sonic would just flip on a dime and start terrorizing their city when he saved them from a water god barely a week ago? What would cause Sonic to have such a radically different view towards these guys? These characters go from being forgettable in earlier arcs to just flat out unlikable? Guys, you are destroying the village more than Sonic is at this point. What are you doing? Oh gee, sucks for you, man who is the president, lives in the White House, has tons of money, and was perfectly fine while Perfect Chaos was rampaging the city while everyone else was either homeless, dying, or dead. Did I ever say that I never liked his character? There is also this new plot point of there being a secret organization of Gun that is trying to conceal what happened 50 years ago on the Ark, but this plot point leads to absolutely nothing, and it just doesn't make sense considering how big of a role Gun plays in this saga. Okay then. Now listen. I know that Sonic being mistaken for Shadow has become a tired running joke in the fanbase, and there is evidence of this making sense in the game. Shadow was found rampaging a place at night. Even though you could see a very clear shot of him in the camera, that's probably just the game's aging. I can extend an olive branch in the context of the game, I can deal with it. It makes a bit of sense. I'll give the fanbase this. But the anime, no, absolutely refuse. No, I cannot believe that even after seeing Shadow right next to the camera in a lit room, I've got to inform you, everyone still has their doubts on whether or not it was Sonic in that footage. You know guys,
For people who respect Sonic and would, praise his every actions and stuff like that, you sure forgot the one tiny, minuscule little detail that Sonic the Hedgehog is fucking blue. Oh, you son of... But the most egregious plot point that the anime decided to introduce was how Sonic got arrested. In the game, this plot point was simple and to the point. Sonic fought off a gun robot, he encountered Shadow, he had a bit of a 1-2, Shadow managed to escape in time, guns surround Sonic, and then they arrest him. Sonic had no... Jesus Christ. Sonic had no witnesses to help prove his innocence, so he couldn't fight back, and thus, he was cuffed and arrested. The end. Moving on. In the anime, however, rather than being alone while fighting Shadow, Chris and Chuck were around while all of this was going down. They all had a very clear view of Shadow. They now know he is a thing that exists in this time and space. So when he escapes via Chaos Control and the cops come in to arrest Sonic, do they tell the cops about what happened? Do they try to tell him that Sonic is innocent? Do they do anything to defend Sonic from this obviously false accusation? No. They don't do that. They do nothing. They actually tell Sonic not to fight the cops and go with them to be arrested. In the game, Sonic had no witnesses. No one could defend him. In the anime, Sonic was arrested because no one had the nerve to open their mouths and defend him. I know that Adventure 2's story is far from being perfect, but to be fair, at least some of it made sense. At least some of it was tolerable. This is inexcusable. Oh, you little fucking turnip. Did the writers of this episode just do it out of order? Sonic, you were lying. And on top of all this stupidity, this arc has so many dumb moments. I swear to God. Gerald's password to access Project Shadow was Maria. How did no one figure this out after 50 years? I know it may have seemed obvious, but come on. Really? You didn't even give it a shot. The egg golem, which was like pretty cool in the game, is now just really overstays its welcome, and the way Boken's defeated is just, it's so fucking dumb. And the way Chris and Tonica managed to get onto Prison Island because they just have to be there. I can't even begin to explain how stupid this plot point is, just... Gun is just incompetent. And thus concludes my probably too long rant about the negatives of this arc. So with those out of the way, I will say that despite the glaring flaws the Shadow Saga has, it fixed a lot of issues I had with the Chaos arc. For one, it's paced a million times better, despite having the same amount of episodes. There's actually only a few cases of filler that's in each episode, and it does get straight to the point when it comes to telling the plot out of Adventure 2, which I was really happy with. Despite a lot of the changes they had to make in order for the new characters to fit in naturally, this time the changes weren't so bad. It actually made the story on par as it was in the game, even though a lot of plot points were changed to a point where it's almost unrecognizable. The fact that it managed to hit the same beats, and in some cases make those beats even better, is attention to writing that I genuinely appreciate. But what stood out the most to me in this arc specifically is that it contains a small handful of moments that I genuinely think are great, and are some of the best examples of Sonic X having very good writing. These golden little nuggets include: 1. The side plot of Maria's killer. Gun was always seen as being this large boogeyman throughout the Sonic lore up to this point, so no one really got any development besides Gun bad, and all that the soldiers were seen as were just pretty much drones with no real humanity to begin with. So the anime decided that a good way to change up the plot of the game is to find the soldier who actually offed Maria and why he did it. Giving Maria's killer a name was already a really interesting move, as it helps humanize the soldiers of Gun a lot more, and the build up towards actually seeing the soldier was handled very effectively, with little lines like him being very alone even though he has family, and that despite his age, he can still pack quite a good punch. But when the show finally got to his interview, it cuts to a flashback explaining what happened, and it was how this moment was done that makes me truly appreciate it. Rather than painting the soldiers as being cold-hearted monsters, this scene is shown from the soldiers' perspective. This allows the audience to understand that the soldiers were ordered by the government to close down the facility under the impression that an accident occurred on the Ark, but they all knew that that was just an excuse. The government was hiding something, and they didn't want it to get out. So despite the soldiers knowing that this was bullshit because they were really sent there to just erase the evidence of the experiments that took place on the Ark, the soldiers still complied because they didn't dare question their authorities. That's actually really clever, because soldiers are raised to not question their authorities. Not too bad so far. When they got to the Ark, all they could see were weird experiments of different creatures, which triggered this soldier's paranoia that this is what the rumors were talking about: research on eternal life and creating the ultimate life form. This, unfortunately, is when the soldier sees Maria, who runs away. With Maria running away and locking the door behind her, the soldier makes chase under the order of not allowing any of the staff to escape and sees Maria holding onto a lever in front of a tube containing what looks like to be an experiment. Putting two and two together, the soldier, under the impression that Maria plans to free this hideous life form, shoots away the lock and orders her to step away from the lever, gun pointed straight at her back. When she refuses, the soldier, despite giving her all the chances in the world to stop, shot Maria in hopes to just stop her, but ended up accidentally killing her. He goes on to say that the people who resisted were killed, the mission was over after they managed to seal away the prototype of the ultimate life form, and that the government covered the whole thing up as just being an accident. With the whole story of what really happened being told from his perspective, the anime allows a little bit of time to show you how much the soldier regretted what he did. All he wanted was to protect the peace, but in doing so, he ended up accidentally killing a little girl as a last-ditch effort to stop her. Not only did this scene show that her death was truly an accident, but it also showed that her killer was simply just another soldier who was following orders and is completely traumatized by what he's done. The way this scene was presented was done amazingly. When you see the flashback, there's no massive score to build up the scene, it's done in mostly silence, which did really well in building up the anxiety when the soldier is pointing his gun at Maria, begging her to stop, and it made the actual gunshot far more impactful. Sonic X didn't need to do this. They could have glossed over this plot point and just moved on, but the fact that they did was really impressive. This scene is hands down the best part of this arc and one of the best scenes in the whole show. 2. Shadow's character arc was done much better here than it was in the game. This chapter spent a lot of time on Shadow specifically and showing that he sees Maria practically everywhere he goes, and one of the best changes they made to his story was changing up the scene of him being sent to Earth by Maria. In the game, there was practically no noise in the room, so him misinterpreting her makes no sense unless you play the Japanese version of the game. In the show, however, there are explosions everywhere, so there was no way that Shadow would have been able to hear Maria's last words. Shadow not being able to hear what Maria was saying when she sent him to Earth, in addition to the added explosions and chaos, now gives his character much more reason to assume that Maria wants humanity to be destroyed, which is only then exemplified with the reveal that Gerald completely controls Shadow's memories. For all he knows, those memories could be fake, those events probably never had him in them. But he doesn't care. Shadow still wants to carry out Maria's wish because he wants to make her happy. That's all he wants. It's what he believes he was made to do. And those memories of the times he spent with her are all that he has left. Without them, Shadow has no purpose. He's just a shell with no end goal. So when he finally realizes what Maria actually wanted, his motivation to fix his wrongdoings makes all the sense in the world, meaning that him doing everything he can to save the Earth, even if it meant sacrificing himself, was all a very natural end to his character. The changes that Sonic X made to this character arc was done so fucking well. Also, seeing Shadow cry when this realization happens is something else. Ugh, my heartstrings were strangled. And 3, to tie this story into a handsome little bow, the anime went out on a high note with having the final battle be played to the song Live and Learn, which just made this scene so much fucking better. And once the final climax is over, the ending to the story is far slower and much more sentimental, as this time, you don't see what happened to Shadow. It was all around a really good ending to this arc. And 4, Tanaka's the best. Tanaka's the fucking GOAT! So, when I look back, this arc, while containing easily some of the dumbest moments in this anime, has a lot of little moments that make the annoying parts slightly worth getting through. The good moments were really great, and the bad moments were either boring or flat out infuriating. All in all, the Shadow Saga, while an upgrade from the last arc, still has a long way to go when it comes to consistently good quality. We're slowly getting out of the bad stuff in the anime, so let's see if the next arc keeps that spark going. Let's take a look at the Egg Moon Saga, which are episodes 39 to 41, a start to a good few mini arcs before the grand finale.